Hello, and welcome back to Scale to Exit with Alejandra Santos, your hostess with the mostest. And on today's episode, I have a very special guest. And I know I always say that I have a very special guest, but I really do. I think all of them are special and they're exceptional and they're amazing. First of all, they come in here, give us their time and their knowledge for you guys, the business owners, the founders, the entrepreneurs to really, implement in your business or as you're building your business. So it's really important for you that you're tuning in to please share, like, and subscribe to Scale to Exit. That way you get alerts on our podcast as they come released. And you share it with your friends, with your family. This is a community where we are all working with one another to really build a valuable business, a valuable asset that you can cash out at a high return later whenever you're ready to cash out. Because believe it or not, about 80% of the population don't have that opportunity. So I want you to have that opportunity to exit your business on your own terms. Because believe it or not, again, we are all going to exit our business. I am going to exit my business. Everybody's going to exit their business. So why not do it on your own terms? And yeah, if you are tuning in on YouTube, well, I will have to say that this podcast was recorded on two different times. So you're going to see a change of outfits through the video. And that is because we were having audio problems on the first video. And on the second video, well, she came back on the second time to finish the interview. That's how amazing this guest is that's coming in. And yeah, and if you are on YouTube, please again subscribe, like, and share, and go ahead and get your popcorn, your wine, your beer, your water, whatever it is that you're into, and tune in. Watch us have this amazing conversation. I promise we're entertaining. I promise you won't be bored. I promise it will be very useful for you. And if you are on Apple or Spotify, then go ahead and tune in, like, share, and subscribe, or comment as well whenever you're ready to do that. So, with that being said, let me go ahead and introduce our exceptional guest, Sha Nacino. She's a globally recognized keynote speaker on human connection and compassionate leadership, a 2 times TEDx speaker, and the author of 15 books. Sha was recently named on the top 30 motivational speakers in the world by global gurus, joining the ranks of Tony Robbins and Simon Sinek, the only Filipino and Asian to make that list. Amazing, right? With a background in Fortune 500 companies, Sha now helps leaders and organizations build connected, high performing workplaces by bridging the gap between humanity and performance. Okay, so are you excited? I am so excited for you to bring her in. So I'm going to go and bring her in, and I will see you on the other side. Thank you for coming to Scale to Exit, Sha Nacino. You have an amazing track record, 2 times TEDx speaker, 15 books. Can you talk a little bit about what drives your passion and what you driving your career?
Yes. So I used to be an employee for 9 years. And the reason I became an author and a speaker was because of one thing. I wanted to serve. I remember what my mentor told me before: serve first and money will follow. So I tweaked it a bit. And my mantra is that serve first, have a lot of fun, and money will follow. So in my first year as an employee, I got buried in credit card debts. And at that time, I was sick and tired of my job. I wanted to quit my job, but I couldn't because number one, I was buried in debts, and number two, I asked myself, if I will resign, what will I do? I didn't know the answer. So that was the start of my journey towards personal development. And then personal development, I also studied money management. Fast forward to 3 years later, I was able to zero out my debts. I was able to save and invest. And I figured, oh, a lot of people need to hear this message. So I talked to my friends and office mates. I told them about money management. And I noticed that my friends would shy away from the conversation because money was such a sensitive issue. It was a taboo to talk about money, especially in my country, the Philippines. And so and so there's this burning message that I wanted to share, but no one wanted to listen, and I wanted to respect their preference. So that's when the idea of writing a book came to mind. So I wrote my first book, and then after I wrote my first book, companies and organizations and event planners started to invite me to speak at their events and share about money management. So that was the start of my journey, and it was fueled by my desire to serve people and to share my message.
Oh, I love that, serving people and then the money will come
Yes.
after that. That's so powerful. When it comes to money management, I know you said that you were also working for banks, right? At some point. So when it comes to money management, what are some things that you are seeing that are common for individuals of all genders struggle with? And how do you advise them to overcome those?
Sure. So a lot of people have messy finances, not because they wanted their finances to be messy, but because of lack of financial education. So it's not enough that you're a college graduate, or even if you have a PhD, or you're a lawyer, a doctor. It doesn't mean that you're also good with money. So um, a lot of times people have short-term vision when it comes to money. Okay, I have my bonus, I have my salary. Where do I go? What gadget do I need to buy? So very short-term vision. So my advice would be to have a longer-term vision. When do you plan to retire? Given your lifestyle right now, how much money do you need to save up or invest so that you can afford the kind of lifestyle that you want when you retire? What is the lifestyle that you imagined for yourself? So vision is very important. That's number one. Which sad to say, which I also lacked before. But when I learned about money management, I learned that it is so important. The next thing is to know your why. Why do you want to make more money? Why do you want to save, invest? What is your deep why? So that's very important. Another thing is, what are your habits when it comes to money? So very simple. When you get your money from the business or from your work, what do you do? What do you do first? Do you pay your bills first? Do you go shopping? Do you go on vacation, or do you pay yourself first? Do you invest first? So those are the three major things that that I'm seeing on why people have messy finances and why I had messy finances before.
So, your experience with individuals when it comes to business owners, um, I believe that when you're a business owner, you bleed those habits into the business.
Yes.
So like your personal habits become part of your work habits, right? So if you have messy personal finances, then you probably have messy way of handling money in your business. What has been some strategies that you have used or taught in all of the corporate events that you have done? And how do you measure success with the strategies?
Mm-hmm. So strategies. So I did a lot of topics before. When I was still starting as a speaker, I thought about money management, especially so companies hire me and also business owners hire me to teach their employees about money management. Because as business owners, when their team members have problems with money, they would ask for a loan, right? And sometimes they would just stay with the company because they need to keep paying the loans. So companies and business owners would invite me to help their team members or employees have better money management. So one of the things I thought I would teach them would be to be clear about the vision. Like, why I shared a while ago, why do you want to invest in your finances? And then next is, what is your big reason for doing it? And next is, what are the small habits that you can do to actually build your finances so you don't have to worry about money? Because when employees have problems with their finances, they tend to bring it to their workplace, to the business. And when you have problems about money, it is so hard to be creative. It is so hard to focus at work. So there are small money habits. So those money habits could be pay yourself first. That's one. Number two is to really track your expenses, especially in the beginning. If you don't have an idea, okay, why is it that my money vanishes after a few days, or even before my next salary or next client, before the next client would pay me. So You track down your expenses first. So track down money in, money out. Where does your money go? I was talking to a friend of mine a couple of years ago, and he was so surprised when he began tracking his expenses. He was so surprised that he's actually spending a lot of money on coffee shops. So because he knew the root of the problem, where his money went, he tried to do a little bit of changes. So for example, he would observe that he would go to coffee shops twice a week. So he reduced it by going to coffee shops once a week and then eventually twice a month. And he saved a lot of money because of that. And the money that he did not spend for coffee shops, he put it in his savings account. So very simple tweaks on lifestyle and money management.
So that's a really interesting story because I had clients that are also business owners. And when we start looking at their financials, all the money goes to coffee and Starbucks and all of these like activities. And I mean, it's a very eye opening when you see where your money is going.
Right.
But as a simple thing, like some business owners out there don't even have anybody to do their financials. And some people, some businesses do have that, and they don't really have somebody to really analyze them completely and well. So, what would you do in a situation like you told right now that you go to corporations and they bring you in for employment and business owners education on money. How about business credit? How about personal credit? Do you also educate individuals on that, on how to manage credit?
You mean the loans, credit, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Credit card debt.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, so I also taught people how to manage their credit card debts, because that was my journey before. And one of the things I thought would be balance transfer. I'm not sure if it's applicable in other countries as well, but in the Philippines there's this balance transfer. So if you cannot pay your credit card debts in full, what you can and what you can afford is just the minimum payment, which will not work to your advantage. My advice would be to apply for balance transfer. So, balance transfer, the way it works is that it converts your credit card debt into it's like installment, but lower interest rate compared to the usual credit card interest rate. In the Philippines, we don't have credit rating, unlike in the US.
Yes, interesting. So I don't think we have that. We don't have that in the US, the balance transfer thing. Basically, what we have is like consolidation of personal, like a loan, where you can consolidate your debt under a loan, but the loan still has high APR, um, but not as high as the credit cards, I would say. But you can use that loan proceeds to pay all of your credit cards. So you basically are saying just kind of consolidate your debt, basically, if you can do that, if you can get a better payment plan through
Yes.
another debt instrument. Okay, so it's kind of like the same concept as here.
Yeah.
So that will make it better for credit card debt. How about if you want people not to do that ever again? Like how do you help them not fall into the same, trap again?
Discipline. Discipline is very important. And of course, financial literacy. So I would really advise people who are going through financial difficulties to look for mentors. So mentors don't have to be some people that you really talk to, but it could be you can be mentored through books, podcasts, YouTube videos, etc. So when I was still learning about money management, I had a lot of mentors, and they didn't know that I was actually their mentee. But I would learn from their books. I would devour their books. I would listen to their podcasts, listen to their audio talks, etc., etc. And then, if there's a chance as well, I would attend their seminars. So financial literacy is the key to solving money problems, because even if tomorrow you'll win the lotto and then you'll have millions of dollars, you will just be buried in more debts if you don't know how to manage your
Hmm.
money, because
Hmm.
money magnifies who you are. So if you don't know how
Hmm.
to manage your money, um, it would be very difficult for you to have more money, because you won't you your psychological wallet will not be ready for that kind of amount of money. So really invest in yourself first. Invest in financial
Okay, I love
literacy.
that. Yeah, I love that. I love that you're saying financial literacy is not something that's huge in the US. They don't really teach you how to like handle your books or manage your expenses or look at your bank account or go to your credit and start managing your credit better. um but they do teach, they make it very easily for everybody to make it a business. So if you don't have those personal habits well established in with money, then it's just gonna bleed into the business no matter what. You also are like very huge on personal development for leaders and organizations. Can you
Yes,
talk about that?
sure.
Yeah.
So typically, when companies and organizations invite me to speak, they would invite me because they experience some problems with their team. For example, low employee engagement, workplace stress. So those are some of the problems that they have, and also high attrition. So they come to me and ask me, Sha, can you help me? Can you help us inspire our team? Can you help us motivate our team? Because as leaders, as corporate leaders, you have a lot on your plate. You have your personal deliverables, and then you have your team to lead. You have your if you're a middle manager, if you have higher bosses to report to, right? So there's a lot of load on your plate. There's too much on your plate. So they would ask me to
Mm-hmm.
inspire their team, and I come up and then I share with them some ways by which they can inspire their team. And actually, sometimes I also talk directly to the team members, the employees. And one of my signature talks before was the power of gratitude. Gratitude is very important to elevate the energy in the room. And during a couple of years ago, companies would invite me, Sha, this is the problem that we have in the company, entitlement. Entitlement, especially amongst this generation. So can you help us make our team members care for the company more instead of feeling entitled? So what I do would be I would listen to the leaders. I would also listen to the employees or team members. So for the team members, the employees that I talk to, their concern would be, what's in it for me? I don't feel cared for by my leader. I don't feel seen. I don't feel this and that. So there are all those needs of employees. They want to feel safe, seen, appreciated. The leaders, at the end of the day, you want results. You want results because if you don't get results, the company will fail. It won't be sustainable, and you would need to lay off maybe employees, which
Mm-hmm.
is something that is hard to do. So I would. So the power of gratitude is, so in the beginning, when I give the talk, so employees would feel like, oh, what's in it for me? And then at the end of the talk,
Mm-hmm.
I carefully weave the talk in such a way that at the end of the talk, the employees would feel so blessed and so lucky to be in that company because now they realize all the benefits that they're getting from that company. And now the question becomes, what can I do for my company? So there. So it's an
Okay,
art.
so you basically, yeah, overcoming entitlement is huge because that's actually a big issue here in the US, as like it's huge. So you basically say that you sit down with them and you have this kind of conversation that's targeted to make them see the good that they have in the company and be grateful for it, and then they come with a different mindset. So all it takes is just one conversation of you doing that.
Okay, so the conversation is actually the motivational talk. So it could be 1 hour or it could be
Yeah.
half day. Yes, and it only
Okay.
takes half day or 1 hour. You could see the shift already. So before I give the motivational talk, I need to understand first what their concerns are. That's why before my
Wow.
motivational talk, I would ask the company if it's possible for me to do an FGD, focus group discussion, with the
Mm.
actual participants, and then I would
Yeah.
listen to their concerns. I would listen to what's in their heart in a safe environment. Or sometimes I would do a
Wow.
survey. So I would listen to
Okay.
the leaders, and I would listen to the employees before my motivational talk. So that
Mhm.
when I
Mhm.
give my motivational talk, I would address exactly their concerns. Like, what is the problem that we want to address here? What are What are the implications of those problems? What are the symptoms of those problems? And then what could be the
Okay.
solution? So that's why motivational speaking is really an art. It's not something that, okay, it's 1 hour, you just go there and then just talk and talk. No, it's not. It's for me, it's an art. It's like helping leaders and employees solve their problems. So I'd like to think of myself as someone who makes the leaders workload lighter and their employees
Mhm.
happier.
Okay. Yeah, that's very valuable for a business, especially you're bridging communication, that mishaps that are happening between both the employee and the employer, and then you're motivating the employee as part of the company. That's really cool. Do you have any other kind of personal development strategies that you incorporate in businesses?
Yes. So another thing is I have this framework called Lead with Care.
Okay.
So basically, it's to help businesses and the companies as well to motivate their team members so they would be on the same page. So for just to share again what just to um, just to tie it up with what I shared a while ago. So employees, they have this need. They want to feel safe, seen, appreciated. They want to be cared for. And when you're an employee and you're not in a leadership position yet, you won't have the perspective of a leader. But once you become a leader, your perspective now becomes, okay, I need to drive results. I need to get the
Mhm.
work done. But
Mhm.
of course, you still want to feel safe, seen, appreciated, because at the end of the day, you're still human. But there is now
Mm.
a bigger responsibility, which is to get the work done. So, when employees feel unseen and they feel invisible, now they get disengaged, and disengagement would cost the company or the business a lot of money, because now the
Mm.
employees would just do the bare minimum just so that they won't be kicked out of the company, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
On the
Mhm.
part of the leaders, they want to, come on, please, do something, please work, come on, I want to motivate you. And sometimes as a leader, when something goes wrong in the company, sometimes because there's a lot on your plate, the tendency is you just tell the team member, hey, this is what you did wrong. Can we do something about it? Something like that. But
Mhm.
sometimes, so when you do that, the team member would feel like, oh, he doesn't care about me. He just cares about my productivity. But no, the leader cares about you. He just doesn't have the time to really, talk to you in the way that you want to be talked to. So I have this framework called Lead with Care. So it's all about balancing humanity and performance. It's all about
Mm.
balancing accountability, empathy, and accountability. So
Mhm.
how do you
Mhm.
make your team members perform and make them still feel that they're cared for and validated
Mm.
and seen and
Mhm.
appreciated? Because I'm also a business owner. I lead a team,
Mhm.
as although it's a lean team, and I know that when team members are not motivated, when my team member, it affects me. Like, come on, do
Mhm.
your work well. Although I'm very happy and blessed because I have a very good team who are highly motivated.
Yeah.
And so now this is the framework that I bring to leaders. It's called Lead with Care. So care is actually care stands for connection and appreciation. So connection and
Mhm.
appreciation is about making your team members feel safe, seen, appreciated, cared for, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And then on the part of the leader, it's about responsibility and excellence. At the end of the day,
Oh.
yes, team, you still need to be responsible and accountable. And you still
Mm.
need to deliver what is expected of you, excellence. So, connection, there are different levels of connection. So, one of which is safety, psychological safety. It is very important for team members to feel safe to speak up.
Mm. Mhm.
And also
Mhm.
the highest level, which I
Mm.
created in my framework, is the feeling of being seen. Because when team
Mhm.
members feel seen, that's when you can really unlock their potential. And then
Mm.
appreciation, of course, that's where gratitude comes in, culture of gratitude. And then for responsibility, it's really about building an organization or a business wherein the trust level is very high and there is no
Mhm.
blaming.
Mhm.
And E
Mhm.
stands for excellence. Excellence means clarity of expectations.
Okay.
A lot of the stresses that business owners and companies experience come from mis come from unmet expectations.
Mhm.
Unmet
Mhm.
expectations because not everyone is clear about what is expected of them. For example,
Mhm.
simple example, let's say your work starts at 9 and you work from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So what does that mean? So when you say, oh, you need to be on time, what does being on time mean? Does it mean 9 a.m. I'm at the office and then, oh,
Mhm.
I can prepare some coffee for me and then I'll start working at 9:30 maybe? Or does it mean being on time, 9 a.m., your laptop is ready, you're ready to start working? So what
Mhm.
does being on time mean? It has to be very clear.
Mm. Mhm. Mhm. I love what you say. You said a lot of good stuff in there. Lead with care,
Yes,
which basically is appreciation. Make sure that you're doing your expectations right because expect very clear with that. I love that you said about leaders that need to be more, make people seen and heard and emotional connection. You talk about a lot about connection. And I know you and I said about how human connection can affect sales and culture. We talked about that one point the other time, and how this can affect one another and how you can improve those two. So, how can you do what happens? Can you talk more about human connection with sales, culture, and then how you can improve about them?
sure. Human connection is vital, especially in sales, because
Mm-hmm.
people would want to do business with you if they trust you and they feel connected with you.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
human connection, this is very important. So, how do you make sure that you're, for example, I'm a salesperson, and then there's this
Mm-hmm.
client that I want to sell to.
Mm-hmm.
So, how can
Mm-hmm.
human connection help me make a sale to that client? So number one is to really care for that person first. Like what
Mm-hmm.
are the interests of this person? What are his pain points? And then have
Mm-hmm.
the right mindset. How can I serve this person? So if you have those kinds of thought process, now you'd be you'd be inspired to connect with that person. So what's important with this person? So because of that, you will ask questions, genuinely listen to that person. And when the person feels listened to, that person would feel seen and validated and appreciated as
Mm-hmm.
well.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
there. So
Mm-hmm.
I created the framework on human connection, and there are different levels of human connection. So safe, like what I shared a while ago, like the third
Safe.
level
Mm-hmm.
is the feeling that he is safe. So if that person, the client feels safe, it means that he feels safe to share his vulnerabilities with you. Sha,
Mm-hmm.
these are my pain points, these are my problems,
Mm-hmm.
because he feels that
Mm-hmm.
he is genuinely cared for. And because you know
Mm-hmm.
his pain points, now you know how to address those pain points.
Mm-hmm.
Versus if the
Mm-hmm.
person doesn't feel safe with you, talking with you, there would be a wall. You could feel that there's this invisible wall. The client
Mm-hmm.
will not open up. He will be dismissive, and he will just say, I'm really sorry. This is not for me." Right? But if
Mm-hmm.
he feels
Yeah.
safe, he'll share his objections.
Mhm,
He'll share his
mhm,
concerns, and if he is sharing his objections or concerns, he's actually giving you a chance to address those objections. It
mhm,
means that he
mhm,
still wants to continue the conversation. Um,
mhm,
One simple way to make your clients feel seen is to really listen to what's important to that client. And then, for example, this is a very simple example that I can think of. There is a mentor of mine who lives in Scotland, and he knew that I'm into hammocks. I love hammocks. I have a hammock in my sala, and one time he was out
in your
somewhere.
sala?
Yes, in my
Like in
sala,
your living room?
in my
In
living
your
room. Yes, there's a hammock.
I love
Later on, I'll show you. So because he knew that I'm into hammocks. One time he was traveling somewhere, and then He took a picture of a store with hammocks and sent it to me. And the caption was very simple, or the message was very simple. He said, "I remembered you're into hammocks." And for me, wow, he listened because I just shared it with him in passing, and he listens. I felt
Mm.
like, oh, this person really listens. It's a
Mhm.
small.
Mhm.
It may be a small thing, but it's a big thing for me.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't
Yeah.
forget moments like that, simple moments. So it's really about
Mm.
um, knowing what's important to the other person, and then
Mhm.
serving that person the way that person wants to be served.
Yeah. Mhm. What you said in the beginning, right? Like that you're here to serve people, and then the money comes after that, basically. And then when you start linking, I guess, when you start matching your passion to serving people, then like everything else just falls into place, basically.
Yeah.
um so I like what you say. I love human connection that you bring into sales, because it's such a simple concept, to like understand clients pain points, and like really talk to them like you're the client, like you're feeling those things. But a lot of businesses fail to do that human connection in their sales. Is there anything that people can do to improve, I guess, um, their sales tactics and strategies to include this human component to it? Or how do they can train their employees to also incorporate it daily?
Okay. So one way is to build connection before you need to make a sale with that person. To share this to make this concept more relatable, let me share a short story. Okay, so a couple of months ago, someone was trying to sell insurance to me,
Okay.
and I met this person at an event. At an event by a common friend. So we have a common friend. And during that event, she did not make any human connection with me, like not even a hi or hello, or just, striking up a conversation. It's like we were there were just 10 of us. We were in the same room, we were in the same space, but she was just talking with her friend. So of course we talked. So I of course we also talked to everyone, but this friend did not make any special effort to connect with me or to connect with
Mm-hmm.
others. She was just connecting with
Mm-hmm.
this one or two people. And then a few days after that event, that person messaged me and said, "Hi Sha, can we meet for coffee? I want to show you our latest product. And I'm also a fan of you, and I watch your videos and all of that." And for me, I felt like it was transactional. Uh, it was
Mm-hmm.
transactional because, oh, now
Mm-hmm.
you're connecting with me because you need to make a sale. But there was this
Mm-hmm.
moment wherein we could have made a connection. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then when I realized, oh, I need to buy more insurance. So that was a reminder for me, oh, I need to buy more insurance. It has been on my to-do list. So what I did was I connected with some of my friends. Like, oh, do you still sell insurance? Can you present to me? And then to this other person who I would always see her Facebook posts, I remember that particular moment. We met many years ago, like 8 years prior. And I couldn't remember the actual what we actually did, or what the conversation was, but I just felt like there was a connection. I think she brought her baby at that time, and she let me carry her baby, and we just had a good laugh. And so I messaged her and said, "Do you sell this type of insurance? Can you present to me?" So to cut the long story short, I bought from that person because of a little moment of connection that we had 8 years prior.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
remember the feeling of there was no agenda or anything, but I
Mm-hmm.
just felt
Mm-hmm.
connected with that person. It was just a little moment of
Mm.
connection. So that's a
Mhm,
simple story.
mhm,
So have those little moments of connection before
mm,
you need to
mhm,
make a sale.
mhm,
Little moments of connection, making people feel safe and seen, doesn't have to take a lot of years to do. It could be a couple of minutes. It could be a couple of seconds.
mhm,
Yeah, so that's one thing. I remember another story wherein uh, and a financial advisor messaged me. So this is a funny story. There's this guy who was viral on TikTok. So he's viral on TikTok, and he's like a celebrity on TikTok. And then we connected on Instagram. So and then he messaged me out of the blue and then just asked, you know, small talk like, "Hi Sha, how are you? Are you at work? What do you do at work?" So it's like getting to know. And because this guy is like a celebrity, I felt like, oh wow, he took time to notice me and he took time to talk to me. And so I was engaging with the conversation. And then he said, "Oh, I belong to this insurance company. Can I present to you?" And then I said, "Thank you. You know what? I really like insurance. I have a lot. That's why I have insurance policies." After that, he did not message anymore. He saw my reply and he just vanished out of the blue. So I felt off like, what was that? It felt so transactional. Did you just talk to me because you wanted something from me? You wanted to sell
Mhm,
to me? And when you
mhm,
realize that, oh, there's no sale here, you just vanished into thin air. So there's disregard in this basic human connection. Like, what is the basic way to connect with someone? What is the basic way to show respect to someone? Right?
mm, mhm,
That person replied to you, a simple thank you would have been okay. So of course, this is also a reminder for me to build those, and I'm very particular about human connection, even with my team members, my the clients, my friends, etc. So the key here is to build human connection, not because eventually you need something from that person, but to make it a lifestyle. This is who I
mm,
am. I build
mhm,
connection
mhm,
with waiters. I build connection with security guards. I
mhm.
build connection with street cleaners because this is just who I am. And now it's so natural
Yeah.
for me to build connections with CEOs, with high ranking people because at the end of the day, we're all humans. I see you. I see you. Even if you're the CEO, I see that you have concerns as well. I'm not putting you on a pedestal. And in the same way that, when I talk to guards and cleaners, I see them as well. I see their humanity. Like, I'm not above you. You're not above me. Um, we're all humans.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, I like that about the human connection piece. However, not a lot of people are as open as you are when it comes to developing human connections. Some people are more reserved, and some people are more careful, I would say, to build some human connections. So, what would be something that you would do to those individuals that need to become a good salesperson and they are very resistant to opening up to people?
Okay, so there are different ways by which you can do that. Uh, let's say you're meeting up with a client. A simple smile do wonders. And then really listen, be curious, ask questions. The other thing is to mirror that individual. For example, if you're the type of person who's so bubbly and so out there and is so loud, you speak so loud, and then you meet a client that is soft spoken and more reserved, you mirror the behavior of that person first. Because if you come off as too
Mhm.
strong, that person will feel intimidated.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there. And
Mirroring is a big
mirroring.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, and if
Mhm.
that person is speaking slowly, you mirror that first, slowly.
Okay.
Slowly.
Slowly. Okay.
So
Mhm.
so there's this guy that I follow. His name is Vin Yang, and he shared that yes, you can meet that person at that person's level first,
Mhm.
and then bring that person to where you want the conversation to go, or where you want the energy to go. So for example, if you're, let's say, if that person speaks very slowly and very softly, and that's really not you, so you can meet that person at that level first, and then slowly, speed up the way you
Ah.
talk, and then
Okay.
slowly,
Okay.
because when you do that, you're also allowing the other person to get out of
To
his
go
or
with
her
you.
shell and go
To
with you.
flow.
Yes, to flow with
Ha.
you.
Interesting.
Yes, I learned that
You
from
flow
Bingham.
together.
Yes, yes.
Okay. I like that. But you know what, Sha? It's still in my head that you have a hammock in your sala, in your living
Yes,
room.
I do have a hammock.
Can you show me real quick?
Okay, let me. Can I show it
Is
at
that
the
too
end of
much?
the?
That's okay. We can do it later. I
I'll show
just
you at
really
the end
want
of
to
this
see it.
interview. Yeah, I'll show it to you.
I love hammocks. Okay, so mirroring and then flowing with the same
Yes.
energy level. What else is another good stuff that they can
Okay.
do?
Be interested in that person. Be really
Mm-hmm.
interested. So really listen, ask curious questions. So instead of showing off to that person, hey, I'm such a good salesperson because I'm this and that, I was awarded this and that. No, that is not very relevant to that person. What's relevant to that person is, can you do you see me? Can you see my concerns? Can you feel my
Mm,
pain? Can you help me
mm,
go from where I am right now to where I want to go? So
mm,
there, so
mhm,
really
mhm,
listen. And this is
mhm.
magic. Address the person by that name. So I really like what you're doing, Alejandra. You're mentioning my name, you're mentioning Sha, because it's very important to address that person by the name that that person wants to be addressed to. Let me share with you a funny story. It's a petty story, but this is the power of human connection. One time I attended an event, and I really liked how the speaker delivered his talk. So I messaged him and thanked him for his talk. So hi and a name and a thank you message, and then siya. He replied to me, and then he said, "Can you write me a testimonial?" He said thank you to me, and then he asked me, "Can you write me a testimonial?" I could have easily done that for him because I liked his talk, but it was missing one important thing. He did not even say hi, Sha. It's like
Okay.
it's like is this a generic reply to everyone who
Yeah.
sends you a message? So that
Yes.
was my impression.
Mhm.
And because I felt like it was a generic reply and he did not even take the little time to address me by my name, which is basic courtesy. Um I did not write him a testimonial. But then he emailed me again. And this time around, because that was LinkedIn, and then he emailed me, and this time around, he addressed me, "Hi Sha, thank you for da 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 da. Can you write me a testimonial?" And I said, "Oh, okay." He addressed me by my name. Okay, so I spent a few minutes writing a testimonial and replied to him, and done. So human connection is it's very basic to address people by their name, but sometimes because it's too basic, sometimes we forget. So that's a
Mm,
reminder also for me to take time to read the names of people, and to really
mm.
address them by their names. So another story. I was in a restaurant. It was a buffet restaurant, eat all you can buffet. So the setup for buffet is that you get your own food and then bring it to your own table. So that was the setup. So there's this. So the guys who would serve, the waiters would just get your used plates and then just change it to new ones. So that's it. But they don't serve you anything. So when the guy was taking my used plates, I took the time to read his name and I said, "Oh, hi, Chris. Thank you for serving me." And I smiled at him. And you know what? I felt like I had a personal waiter during my stay at that buffet because every now and then he would come to me and ask me, "Do you need drinks? We offer this and that. Is there anything I can do for you?" It's like he wanted to keep coming back to me to serve me. So that's added work for him because it was not in line with his work. He didn't have to serve me in that way, but maybe because he felt seen and he felt validated and someone took the time to smile to him. Uh, Maybe that's the reason why he kept coming back to my table.
Okay. Wow. That's so interesting. So I okay with with everything that you're talking to me about human connection, I'm starting to realize more and more that people don't know about this as much. Like they don't really understand the concept of connecting to people, right?
Yeah.
Rather than and making you feel like a certain kind of way. Like people don't are not aware of like really making you feel comfortable and safe, which we're going to back again safety, right? For you to even like trust them with anything. So this is huge. So how do you train people or salespeople or people in businesses? Like what do you do? Like do you do workshops? Like how do you go to companies and implement this kind of concepts that common sense people should already have, but then not really they don't?
Yeah, so I do a 1 hour motivational talk, or I can do a
Okay.
half day workshop for them.
Okay.
Yes. So the way we do this is that I really like to do research before I go to a company,
Mm.
because
Mhm.
even if the concepts would be the same, the concepts that I would teach companies and businesses would be the same, their specific problems are unique. So I want to
Yeah.
hear their specific problems and see how those concepts or framework that I'm going to share with them would help them solve those specific problems. So that's how I would try that. How I would do
How
that.
in your opinion do you think that is that the number one reason why companies could fail in their sales goals because they don't really either train themselves or train the team to basically develop those relationships prior to making that transaction?
Yes, that could be one of the reasons why they are failing to make a sale. Um, so I'm not a sales expert, but I know a lot about human connection that could help salespeople bring in
Mhm.
more sales.
Mhm.
So I won't delve
Mhm.
into the technicalities of making a sale, like can you
Yeah.
able to rebut objections like this and that. But I want to go to the core of the person they're selling to. At the end of the
Mhm.
day, that
Mhm.
person is a human being. That
Yeah.
person is a human
Yes.
being, and
Mhm.
that person has basic needs: the need to
Mhm.
feel valued and the need to add value as well. And in the
Yeah.
context of selling, they want to feel they want to feel valued. They want to feel seen. They want to feel that you are there to help them, not you are there
Mhm.
to make a sale to them.
Mhm.
So I like what
Mhm.
Brian Tracy said before, that there is this conflict between what the buyer wants and what the seller wants. The
Mhm.
seller
Mhm.
wants to sell. The
Mhm.
buyer doesn't want to be sold to.
Yeah.
But at the end of the
Correct.
day, they both want the same thing, which is to
Yes.
solve a particular problem. The seller would actually
Correct.
solve the problem of the buyer. The problem would
Yeah.
actually want her problem to be solved. But
Yes.
if the buyer feels like, you're just here to sell to me, and then the
Yeah.
seller as well, there is this invisible feeling of discomfort, that, I'll do a sale, I'm not a salesy, I don't want to do a sale. So there is that, discomfort. But if you
Yeah.
come from the point of view of, hey, I have a solution to your problem, and I'm here to serve you, so even if you don't
Mhm.
buy from me, it
Mhm.
is such an honor for me to have this opportunity, to share with you a possible solution. So maybe your no right now doesn't mean no forever. Maybe your no right now means
Mm. Mhm.
not yet. Or maybe
Yeah.
your no right now, yes, go ahead.
No, no, go ahead. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
So,
like what you're saying.
or maybe your no right now means that there is no fit there. It's my product is not a fit. The solution
Mhm.
I'm offering is not a fit to your problem. Maybe
Mhm.
another person, maybe someone else can solve your problem. So if it's
Mhm.
not me, if your intention is really to serve, then you don't have to take it personally that, this person
Mm.
rejected my offer. It's not about you. It could be there is no fit. It could also be about you. It could also be about you, because maybe the person doesn't trust you, doesn't want you, and it doesn't have to mean that you're not a trustworthy person. It could just mean that, yeah, doesn't have to mean that
Um,
you're not a trustworthy person. It could just mean that you did not present yourself as someone who can be trusted, because maybe
mhm.
you lack some of those human connection
Mm,
connection ways that
yeah.
that person can feel that, oh, it's okay to trust this person and buy from this person.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
Okay.
people want to do business with you if they like you and they trust you. So how can you make them like you? So one of the ways is to be genuinely interested in that person. It's very basic. It's one of the human connection skills that we need to be interested in that person rather than trying to impress that person. So the way to do that is to really listen, ask questions, and then really listen to that person. Um, I remember there was this time wherein a financial advisor was trying to sell me insurance. So she's into sales, and she was extra friendly to me when she was trying to sell insurance. And then I recalled our previous interaction. So that was only our second interaction. The first interaction was we were in a group, and she did not exert any effort to talk to me or to other people there. She was just talking to one friend that she had. So, and then later on, when she was trying to sell me insurance, she was extra friendly. So for me, I felt like, oh, yes, I need to buy more insurance, but let me go back to my friends who were selling insurance. And then I asked my friends, can you please present to me? I want to buy more insurance. So the key there is that if that financial advisor would have exerted effort on our first interaction when she did not need anything from me yet, if she would have exerted effort to get to know other people and to be interested in other people, maybe in that second interaction when she was trying to sell me insurance, maybe I was a bit more open because it was just it's like there was a momentum that was built already in the first meeting, and then we just carried it to the second meeting. But because it was so abrupt, like, oh, you didn't even talk to me in our first encounter. There were only 10 of us. And then now that you want to sell insurance, you were extra friendly. So now you begin to ask, like, subconsciously, like, are you just friendly to me because now you need to sell insurance to me? And then when I said that, oh, I need insurance, but I I wanna talk to my friends who previously offered me insurance. And then she stopped talking to me, like just like that. There was no, oh, it's okay, Sha. How about this and that? Um so there you could easily see that um if you're in sales and you want to sell something, of course you want to sell something, it's very important to understand the friction between the buyer and the seller. The buyer doesn't want to be sold to, and the seller wants to sell, right? So as a seller, the way for you, one step that you need to do first is to really build trust. Because when we understand that people buy from you if they like you and they trust you, now, even if you don't have to make the sale yet, right? We can already build that connection so that selling is now just it's like you already built a momentum, and it's just an extension of who you are. Like, this is me as a person. I connect with people. I know how to be interested in other people. And because of that, now I'm extending this service because this product of mine can actually help you get closer to your dreams. So now the entire mindset shifted from, oh, I need to sell to you, to I want to serve you, and this product can serve you.
Wow, that's amazing. So how can a business owner make sure that the sales team also implements this kind of human connection first strategy?
Okay, so one is to hire a trainer. Hire a trainer or a speaker who can share this with your team and share it, like, because there is magic when someone um, that is not from the team, not from the business, would share insights. Because sometimes, because of our preconceived notions, if our boss or leader told us, okay, do this and that, if there are other preconceived notions, we say, why? What's the agenda? But if there's a third party who's sharing this with the team, and it becomes refreshing. So that's one. And the other is for the leader to display how it is, how to do human connection. So sometimes some of the common sense stuff are not so common sense. For example, smiling at someone, or listening to someone when someone's talking to you and not being on your phone, right? Or addressing that person by his or her name, or saying thank you. So these are all common sense, but you'd be surprised. It's not commonly practiced sometimes. So one way is to maybe have a meeting with the entire team and ask the team, okay, team, I learned that human connection is very important when it comes to sales because so benefits. And then you ask the team, so what are your suggestions on how we can build human connection with our potential clients? And then the suggestions would come from the team. And so it's like you as the leader, you're listening to your team. They're giving you their suggestions, and then you decide as a group, okay, would you agree? So these are your suggestions, 10 suggestions. Can we choose the top five? And then ask the consensus of the group, would you agree that we do this top five? So just to give you an example, when I used to have an office, so I'm an entrepreneur, I used to have a team and we work in an office. So we rented an office. And many of my team members were introverts. Like me, I'm also an introvert. And I noticed that when someone enters the room, no one would smile and say hi, not because they don't want to, but because they're shy and they're introverted, and they didn't know, what if I say hi and nobody says hi back, right? So we had a meeting as a team, and then I asked them, team, um, can we look for ways by which we can build more connection in our team? So what are your suggestions? So some of them suggested, oh, when I open the door, I will say hi, but I would also appreciate if someone would say hi back. So, okay, can we do that? So that's what we did. We did. And then can we also smile every time someone enters the room? Let's look at the door and smile at the person entering the room. Can we do that? So we listed everything. And even if there were delivery guys that would knock on our office, we also had a protocol on how to greet them. Like, "Hi, sir. Good morning. How may I help you? Who are you looking for?" Something like that. So because it's a protocol, and then we printed it, and then we posted it in our workstations. Now everyone was guided, and now when you enter the room, you don't need to ask yourself, should I say hi? What if they don't say hi back? Because you know that when you enter the room, people would smile at you. You say hi, they say hi back to you. So it's a way to build rapport with the team members and to break the ice. So that's just a simple example that I can think of.
Do you do a lot of role playing as well with the team?
Personally, I don't like role playing very much, especially in real scenarios. Um, we like to do it we like to practice it. But when I do my trainings, we do role plays. But for role plays, we look for the specific and actual problems of the leaders or team members. And then I develop a framework or a formula to solve that particular problem. And then I tell them, okay, so choose which of these frameworks you can use for this particular scenario, for this particular problem, and then let's role play. So it doesn't feel like role play because for them, oh, this is real, this is happening, this is really my problem in at work. So when they're in the training room, you don't even feel like they're role playing. They're so into it, like they're 100% into it because they know that, hey, this is my practice, so that when I go to the workplace, I know how to actually talk to my team member and deliver the not so good news. So there.
What has been like what has been like the best exercise that you have developed in within teams in an organization to that has impacted profits the most?
Hmm. So when I go to companies and organizations, what I help them with is to address low employee engagement. Low employee engagement because when you're not engaged, it really impacts the profitability of the company.
Mhm.
When you're not
Mhm.
engaged, you're not finding ways to solve that particular problem because you're just giving the bare minimum, so you won't be kicked out of the company, right? So so that's where I come in. So that's what I measure, the level of
Mhm.
engagement of the team members. Now, as regards the actual numbers, like the income, um,
Mhm.
so far I don't go to that level yet, but leaders would tell me, oh, our sales increased. I could notice that there is now less friction amongst my team members, and I could see that they're more, they speak more in meetings.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we talked about everything. We talked about sales, about employee engagement, about different frameworks, how you come into organizations. Is there anything else that you would like to talk about that we haven't touched base on today?
Okay, maybe one last would be the power of gratitude. It is so important to build that culture wherein team members are grateful. So how do you do that? One simple way that I teach corporates and businesses as well is to do the gratitude circle. So when you have meetings, before you start your meeting, you can ask everyone to share what they're grateful for in their personal and or professional life. So why is this important? Number one, you make your team members feel seen and heard because now they're sharing. Number two, because you talk about gratitude, you elevate the energy in the room. And number
Yeah.
three, as a leader, when you hear from your team members what they're grateful for in their personal and professional lives, you get a glimpse of what's important to them.
Okay.
So it's like
Wow.
they're giving you insights into their inner world.
To the
Yeah,
inner
so
world. That's
three
really
birds in
that's
one with one stone.
That's really powerful. Yeah. Thank you for sharing, Sha. And where can
Welcome.
people find you to book you for speaking engagements and for booking you for their business?
Thank you. So you can find me at shanacino.com. Again, that's shanacino.com. I'm also on LinkedIn. So name is Sha Nacino.
And I will put those on the podcast notes as well when the episode gets released. So, again, Sha Nacino, thank you so much for coming to Scale to Exit, for sharing your knowledge, your insights, and your expertise in how to build a business that business owners can exit in the future. So,
My
thank you,
pleasure.
everybody. Thank you, everybody that's
Thank you for
listening
having
in.
me,
Adios,
Alejandra.
muchachos. Hasta la vista. Bye.
Bye. Thanks, Alejandra.